Hello everyone, this is Oscar from Underdog, and let's talk for a moment today about ghost notes. Ghost notes are a way for you to take individual drum hits and add secondary drum hits that fill up the groove in between those main hits. Ghost notes originate from acoustic music, where you'd have a drummer who would hit a drum hard in some important beats, and then in some of the weaker beats, they would just hit the drum but very, very softly. And even though we use synthetic drums in electronic music, that concept is still relevant to us. So when you're programming drum hits, obviously you can use the velocity controls inside of Ableton Live or whatever your DAW is to differentiate some hits from others by having some be at a high velocity, so that's a high impact loud sound, and others be at a low velocity. And you can do that straight up in MIDI. You don't need to do any tricks. But I want to show you one trick today. I want to show you how to do this with a delay effect because I think it's kind of cool and it can lead to some unexpected and inspiring results. Let's hop into Ableton and I'll show you right away. All right, cool. Imagine you've got a percussion loop kind of like this. What I've got here is I've got a kick, some toms, a little bit of noise that's not playing right now, some rumble, some high rumble. Watch my rumbles video if you don't know what this is, by the way. Some more rumble, resampled rumble, and then we add some percussion. A snare, a shaker, and a hi-hat. And so what I'll do is I'll make some ghost notes for this snare. So on this snare right here, imagine we're gonna put some ghost notes on there. The simplest way to do that would be to quite simply draw in the MIDI like this. With a low velocity. Suddenly that element goes from being individual hits to being an entire groove, and that's quite tasty. But now I wanted to show you the trick with the delay. Here's a straightforward delay in Ableton. And so what you'll do is you leave everything more or less where it is, and you'll just reduce the wetness down to 0%. And now the next step here is to automate this wetness. So you do show automation in a new lane. You make that lane a bit bigger just for your own comfort. And then you drag that in so that it only plays every now and then. I'm holding down Alt, by the way, which unsnaps the grid for the duration of me dragging this thing along. And so here we go. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. You see how some of these notes in between, they come through, and if we go over 50%, then we lose some of the original signal. But this allows us to get creative and maybe make a smaller grid and draw in just individual steps, like here. All right, so this allows us to get a little bit playful with this. And some of these delay units, they have some characteristics that make their echoes a bit more interesting than just drawing the MIDI in onto the timeline. So for example, in Ableton, you've got the echo, which very similarly we can just automate, but let's sound design it for a moment. Here, let's solo it and put it 100% at wet and listen a little bit. What we can do is, for instance, we can filter. We can make the echoes a bit thinner or a bit more muted like this, or with the character, we can even do things like adding noise. Now we can mess this up quite heavily because we don't necessarily need this to be in any way faithful to the original. Okay, that's getting really weird sounding. Perfect. So now we bring it back down to 0, show automation in a new lane, and then we just draw in a few steps wherever we want them. Nice, 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 nice. And now you might get the intuition that the more colorful a delay unit, the more interesting it is in this context. For example, you could use the Reason VST as well, which has a pretty sweet delay unit called the Echo. And so that one, you can also automate the dry wet on that. So let's do that. So what we do is we engage automation mode in Ableton, right, by hitting A. And then we move this knob up and down, and then you see this line here wiggling, right? So this is the dry wet control now, and we can hit this little plus icon down here to make that into a new lane. So now we can automate that, and we can again put it down at 0 and just let it come in every now and then and see what that gives. So as you can see, this one has some color, which is like an overdrive unit in it, which makes the delays pretty distinct from the original signal. So there you go. That was an application of percussive ghost notes using a delay unit inside of your DAW. If you are an absolute beginner and you'd like to learn electronic music from 0 up until becoming about an intermediate level producer, follow my Foundations of Electronic Music course on my website here. Like the video and leave a comment to show me some love. Come show us on the Discord channel what you did with this, and until next time, stay producing, be good to one another, and take care. Bye bye.